മ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്തു. കോൾ ഓവർ മ്യൂട്ടായല്ലോ. തേർഡ് ഇയർ അപ്പൊ എന്റേത് മ്യൂട്ട് ടീച്ചറിന്റെ എന്റേത് മ്യൂട്ടാ ടീച്ചറിന്റെ. ഗവൺമെന്റ്
ക്ലൗഡ് മീറ്റിംഗ് ആണ്.
നിന്നെ കണ്ടിട്ട് എന്റെ സൗണ്ട് കേൾക്കുന്നത് ഭയങ്കര വേണം.
എനിക്കിതൊന്നും കാണാൻ വയ്യേ.
സോംബി വൈറസ് പിടിച്ചെന്താണ് മോനെ? Administered and regulated.
ഇരുട്ടായി.
അത്ര മതി.
Regulated.
അത്ര
അതെങ്കിലും എവിടെ നീ സൗണ്ട് അടിച്ചു പോയതുണ്ട്.
എന്റെ സൗണ്ട് ഇപ്പം കേട്ടേ ടീച്ചർ അടിച്ചു.
Hello.
അതാ
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ravi Kiran sir, am I audible?
Yeah, absolutely, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Okay, thank you, sir. Good morning to all the attendees of this webinar program. Respected Dr. S.J. Sree, Head of the Department of Economics, Sree Narayana College, Kollam, and the resource person of this session, Mr. Ravi Kiran, Placement Officer, Institute of Insurance and Risk Management, Gachibowli, Hyderabad. All the faculty members of Sree Narayana College and TMI students. This is the first time we have an academic collaboration with Institute of Insurance and Risk Management, Hyderabad. It's a 4-day webinar series. In this inaugural session, Mr. Ravi Kiran will deliver a talk on the topic post-COVID skills. Mr. Ravi Kiran, formerly via the human resource part of the various prestigious institutions, namely Hindustan University, Chennai, Le Magna School of Management, Hyderabad, and currently he is serving as a placement officer at Institute of Insurance and Risk Management, Hyderabad. So, hearty welcome to this program.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, may I start, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. And as sir has briefed about me in a short, in a short profile, I'm Ravi Kiran, representing here for IIRM Hyderabad. I represent for the placement office of the institute, and I would like to extend sincere thanks on behalf of our management, staff, and the entire institute for giving us this opportunity to present our views on specific topics. Now, the topic that I would be handling today is post-COVID skills, which are one of the most essential skills for survival and sustainability of individuals in the forthcoming years. As we look at the uncertainties and the dynamic changes that industry is taking shape and which are taking place today. Now, the topic for the day is post-COVID skills. I have used a tagline here for sustainability in new normal. Like as we look at the future, it's going to be a new normal, which is predominantly technology based. As I move along the slides or take you through the presentation, then you would also agree with me that technology would be taking a major role as we look into future and future prospects of our life and professional building. Now, moving along, now COVID has impacted us in a very greater manner. Like we look back just a year from now, we were all were sufferers of lockdown period, and it has impacted our life both in the negative manner as well as it has left few positive impacts, which has led to the changes that we are witnessing now. Now, the ones which I am trying to present here are very generic or general in nature. First, we would look at the negative impacts that COVID or the lockdown period has impacted on us. The first and foremost being the confinement and alienation. As we all know, with the advent of COVID, the pandemic, we all suffered with confining ourselves to a place which has been safe and as well as limited in such a manner that we are not affected by the virus or the disease, which led to loss of life in a quick succession during those days. The next one being disconnect with fellow human beings. We were all, as we were confined to limited spaces, looking at the safety and well-being of ourselves as well as near and dear. So we were absolutely disconnected with other fellow friends, peers, or any other familiar people we were in the society where we were living in. Now, the third one, like as we moved along the lockdown period, basically I am quoting here, then we started using these technology-enabled tools or any sort of such devices or means which again enabled us to reconnect. So our dependency on artificial means were very high during those days, and still it is continuing. And the last one being a disruption in all walks of life, be it social, technological, economic, or political. So it has overall impacted the larger sphere of living and life. Now, it is not that it is that it had only the negative impacts, but it also helped. I mean, led to few positive impacts, which enabled us to carry on our life and move to the next level where we are standing today, which involves revolution in technology and technological innovations. A lot of the one which we are witnessing now, that is through Zoom, how we are connected, is one such innovation which took place. Though the first one being the Skype, which was there earlier, then subsequently this format of innovation has helped us or enabled all sorts of businesses or life or any such activity, which led to again reunion of individuals in the society, may be virtual in nature. Though the next one being movement towards one digital world at a rapid pace. Yes, we were all moving towards acquiring familiarization with the technology, usage of technology, and as well we were very much connected via the technology in one digital world. So that is how the technology intervention has made an impact by which we are taking forward our lives today on a larger scale, if we look at it. Then the last one being forceful familiarization to latest technical know-how. Like the best example for this is the contactless payment systems. That is your phone pay, Google Pay, or the ones which were there in every section in the society. Every hierarchy in the society, may it be the higher section elite group to that of the lower section in the society, were familiarized with this and they started utilizing this. So it was a kind of forceful familiarization to the technology which enabled our lives, and then started the enablement of technology in our lives and the movement towards a positive side of the future. Now, these in general demarcates the impact factors, may be the one which are negative in nature, and some are positive in nature, which has helped us to look into the future, how we have to prepare ourselves or make ourselves ready for the new scenario that would be coming up. So the next slide gives us an understanding as to what kind of I mean, introduction that has taken place in our life and how the future would be as we move along. The next one being, if we look at this is keeping in view the individual aspects as well as the future industry aspects or the companies they are working on. Because now what we are looking at is with these skills, we will be seeing ourselves in various companies. So here I am limiting everything to ourselves, that is individuals. Then the second one being technology, which is interbridging ourselves with the third one, that is the companies, which are the potential recruiters for us today. So keeping these three as basic pillars, we will move along in understanding like what is the after effects and how we are looking at the change. The first and foremost being a reduction in human interface. As I said, like technology is becoming dominant today. Hence, that is leading to reduction of human interface in any of the aspects of business or life today. Then enhanced use of technology and technological interventions. Whatever activity we take today, that is the interface is absolutely through technology. Now that's the kind of intervention technology has shown today. At the same time, when I'm using the word intervention, that is also the enablement towards the future requirements. The last one being the changing business formats of in the industry as well as in the major companies. Today, organizations are building majorly on 4 T's, that is technology, team building, talent management, and trust. I would like to take a minute here to explain the word trust here. Trust because everything is remotely working today or functional today. No one is able to work in sync with physical presence at one common place. Hence, everyone is using the technology and are at remote places, so that they are looking at using the technology to build and move towards the objective of the organization. That is how the trust factor has come into play today in most of the organizations where everything is working through remote processes. So this is going to be the major change, and as well going to be for a longer duration in all aspects of our business or professional lives. Now, with this, I would like to move on to the other aspects of technology-based interventions or technological interventions that has taken place in industry as well as in our daily lives. The first one being the artificial intelligence. The second one being machine learning. Machine learning enables the artificial intelligence. Third one being robotics, where the repeated tasks were there being performed by human beings are now taken over by these robotic form of machines, maybe your systems or any other formats of machines. They are replacing the human beings today. Then virtual reality. Then we have deep learning. The deep learning is the next level of the machine learning, which enables your artificial intelligence and builds the interface between the individuals and the expected outcome that individual is individual is intending to achieve. Then the third one is augmented reality. The fourth one is smart objects. Today we have many smart watches or even our voice-based command-based objects. Many such things which are enabling us to go smoother in life. Then mass 3D printing, biotechnology, and chatbots. So these are the kind of technology-based interventions which are helping humans move forward with the help of technology and towards securing an output or securing a resultant. Next one, like like the topic for which we are present here, that is why do we need these skills? Now, first and foremost thing is companies. The third part of the pillar, the third pillar which I said, looks at a kind of ASK. ASK stands for aptitude, skills, and knowledge. So these are the three aspects which are considered or recognized as standards of evaluation in individuals before they enter into any of the organizations. So that is how each one is having insightful extent and content to brief. But today, as we are limited to skills, so we'll handle only the skills and go forward with the presentation. Now, next, we would like to understand or will define what are skills. Now, a skill is an ability to perform an activity in the most competent most competent manner. Competent manner is the characteristic feature of the ability at the highest level. So that also can be considered as the most perfect or the excellent form of the final achievement of any activity. So that is why the competent manner has been used here. Now, we will try and understand the skills in various types or in various formats, so that finally we will arrive at the broad category of skills which are required for future. Now, these basic type or these various types would enable us to understand which are required at individual level to understand, transform, build, and rebuild again and again so as to be industry ready. Now, from here, I'll keep on using industry ready or future ready interchangeably, so that everything what we are looking at is to be ready for industries to accept us. Now, the first type of skills that an individual requires to understand and to build in himself or herself are transferable skills or functional skills. The second type of skill that is required is personal traits or attitudes, and the third one being knowledge based. Now we'll try and understand each one at the individual level and what goes in, so that an individual can look at transforming himself or herself to be industry ready or to be future ready. Now, the first one being transferable or functional skills. Now, what is required under this particular classification or type of skill development is technical know-how and research orientation with continued learning. I would repeat or thrust on stating that it is a continued learning, that which will be for us as a new norm throughout as long as we are a professional and working in any organization. Earlier, this was limited only to few professions like your law or medicine or tax consultants and so on and so forth, who used to have the learning throughout the life so that to keep themselves in the profession going. But today, it is the norm of every individual or any individual's profession that we keep on learning and applying ourselves, because the changing nature of the professions are very short term in nature or short term career giving in nature. Like how we saw careers starting at one stage and leading to 30-40 years in the earlier stages or pre-COVID era, it is not going to be the same after the post-COVID era. So careers would be short, but every time new versions of enablement will take place in the career and the profile that any individual would be handling. So technical know-how is important because everything will be technology based. Whatever assignment or task we take and we work towards achieving or approaching the task, then technology is always there. So that is how whatever technology is applicable to respected or the respective task, that is to be very, very thorough with or we should be familiar with, so as to keep ourselves going along with the assignment or the job or work we will be handling or taking up in future. The next part of it is research orientation. Research orientation is highly required because today the era is knowledge explosion era and information explosion era. So it is very important that you understand the exact information that is required and take forward in approaching your task and towards achieving the goals. Now, the next one is understanding self as a facilitator or an enabler. Facilitator is when you are trying to build an interface between yourself as well as the end user. Then you are a facilitator. And enabler, you are using you need to work in sync with the machines today. So when you are using that, then you need to understand where the limitation of the machine starts and where you can start. That is where a human interface can start. Then you become the enabler towards achieving a goal or the assignment you are handling. The third one is gaining an expertise in the subject matter. As I said, like whatever you will handle, it would be assignment based in future. So every time you handle something, then again a new assignment would come up, which is of a different version. And as we all know, like technology also changes day in and day out. So new versions comes up. So that is how your assignments also do change as we go into the future. So similarly, every time you handle certain assignment, you need to understand the 360-degree knowledge base for any of the particular areas that you are working in. So you need to be a subject matter expert what you are handling at that point in time. Hence, keeping yourself abreast with the requirements of the task, assignment, or the industry norms. Now, the last one being effective communicator. Now, research experts and various studies have stated that with the new technology or the formats that have come in, you have to be very, very effective in the form of being a communicator. So you have to empower yourself in such a manner that in the shortest span of time, you should be in a position to communicate the larger content. It is stated that any individual's effectiveness would be limited only to 2 minutes or 3 minutes maximum while using such interfaces and trying to reach the audience. That's why being effective communicator is highly required, and you need to empower yourself in such a way that you always tend to be focused clear and crisp in whatever you're trying to convey to your audience. Now, these are the set of skills that are required under the transformational or functional formats that an individual needs to acquire or be ready with so that he can face the future and be sustainable for longer duration of time. The next one being your personal traits or attitudes. This is purely dependent on the individual, or it is limited to individual's own personality development. Now, in this, the first and foremost being a readiness to learn throughout life. This is going to be the new norm. As I said, like every time your technology changes, your area of knowledge changes, your career progression changes, then you need to learn throughout and keep on acquiring the new skills that are required to keep yourself going along with the new change that you will be facing. The second one being ability to learn by self. Now, the first and foremost thing to understand here is as you go into any of the organization, then the major two aspects are your reskilling and upskilling. Now, reskilling is how whatever you have learned, and on that how you are enabling yourself. Now, reskilling, the first basic foundation for this is you need to take up various short-term courses as you move along, which are your job specific or role specific in nature, and that defines your reskilling nature. And upskilling is as you acquire those new certifications or rather new areas of knowledge and how you are applying, and again you are enabling yourself to move upward in the career. Now that is your upskilling. So these two defines here, and you should have zeal to learn by on your own self. That is what is required as you keep on enabling yourself with new areas of knowledge, which are again industry recognized. When they are certified, then you are always moving yourself up in the ladder of the hierarchies. Now, the third one being develop larger base of learning. As I briefed in the previous slide, you need to be a subject matter expert. Now, it's the same. And second thing is, as you keep on getting new or different assignments, then you will again be required to learn the new areas that you will be, areas of knowledge that you will be facing with, so as to keep yourself going with your job or assignment towards contributing to organization's growth and personal growth. Now, the fourth one being being innovative and creative. Today, the foremost important thing is being innovative, like how you can able to come up with various types of thought processes while approaching any job or assignment or task in achieving your objectives or the goals of the organizations that are set on you, and how creatively you are able to achieve those. Creativity here can be the last point here which we have given, that is being smart. So I'll elaborate on that again. And creative here is in the shortest span how you can able to achieve with most effectiveness, most in a most resilient manner, so as to have a long-term sustainability and result orientation for the organization. Now, again, at the individual level, soft skills are the most important things that an individual needs to enable in themselves, and this would always be their lifetime. This cannot be changed or replaced by any of the systems or machines, because these are very much individual specific, as the skills mentioned there are presentation skills, interpersonal skills, effective speaking skills, listening skills, and writing skills. So these remain always irreplaceable, and these are very much individual specific. And the last point being being smart. Smart, not the little word actually. Here, this is an acronym that has been used, and the expansion for this is being specific, then measurable, like whatever you are trying to do or you are working on, it should be measured. And A stands for achievable, like whatever assignment you are taking up or whatever commitments you are giving in terms of achieving your job, then those should be achievable. Then next one is result oriented. Whatever assignment you take, it should always lead to achievement of results which would contribute to the organization, and last one being timely, because any assignment you take, it will have a definite start and a definite end. So it's, in other words, called as project management. So every task or assignment is a project for you today, and it should be time bounded in nature towards delivering the results for the organization. So these are the skills which are required in individuals at the personal level, so as to enable themselves to be future ready. Now, the next one we'll take in understanding are the knowledge-based skills that are required. The first and foremost being multidisciplinary. Now, here we'll try and understand what does the industry look at in an individual when being called as multidisciplinary. The first and foremost is always our graduation would remain as our base for entering into the organization. And from there on, whatever new assignments we take and whatever the new areas of knowledge we face, we should always try to understand, learn, and acquire the best of the knowledge that we have to fulfill to that particular area or to assignment. So that is how we look at one area as one discipline as our graduation, then we have the next one as we move along in our career progression and keep on acquiring the new areas of knowledge. So that is how we become multidisciplinary. Then the next one being information management. We need to understand here that pre-COVID, it was a knowledge management era, and post-COVID, it's a information management era. Now, today we have enormity of information that is available on various sources of electronic formats. The first and foremost thing that is required is in an individual is with the applied tools or knowledge resources, how an individual can differentiate between the accurate data versus adequate data. The first and foremost thing is that which defines an individual's sustainability in any of the organizations today. As long as you are trying to understand, break down the information, you make it into, you make the data into information from data you to take up for interpretations, inferences, and then your representation. This entire thing leads to the data management. Now, here it is important or pertinent to understand that going into future, everything would be on numbers or on the numerical data that any individual will handle pertaining to any task or assignment in any format of the job. So that's why it is very important to understand or acquire such skill which enables us to do a proper information management and present the right data or right decision-making support information to the management. The last one being acquaintance with the latest know-how, as I have mentioned, like every day in and day out, the technology is changing. So we have to have an understanding of the technology that is helping us survive in our current job role or any such role that we'll be taking in. And we have to have the latest understanding of the knowledge area so that we can keep going and sustain in our job towards future building. Now, till now, we tried understanding the types of skills that are required for an individual to sustain, transform themselves, and build towards becoming industry ready. Now, with this, we will try and understand further how the interface between these areas, knowledge areas, or the skill areas to that of the industry expected areas from an individual. So now the next slide would help us understand the interface or the balance between us as individuals and as well as the industry expectations. Now, to enable this, we have various quotients in individuals. Now these quotients from an individual perspective are enabling them to be an overall personality, helping them in overall personality development, as well as an individual who is fit to be taken into industry. Similarly, from industry's perspective, all these quotients should be in a balanced form, or at such level where individuals can be considered as resource for industry. Now, with these two assumptions, we'll try and understand what are these quotients. Now, first and foremost one being intelligence quotient, that which develops through individuals' own knowledge and their like the trait by which they can acquire new knowledge area or new knowledge areas. The next one being the emotional quotient. Now, here, excuse me, here the most important thing is how an individual balances his internal environment in terms of his knowledge and skills, and as well as the external environment where he is, and along with what kind of people he is working, he or she is working, or individual is working, and how he is able, how an individual is able to balance between both and taking the life in a smooth manner and successfully forward. The next one being adverse quotient. Adverse quotient in a manner is form of or forms part of your emotional quotient. Adverse quotient is such situations in life of an individual where the situation or the life conditions were not very favorable, or they were compulsive on him, which were leading to suppressions, and how an individual has overcome with his balanced approach in terms of his IQ or EQ majorly, and how he has overcome and taken life to the next level. Now, such situations are very much read today by all the companies in individuals so as to understand their next quotient, that is your SQ. SQ is commonly used as a social quotient. In some cases, it is used as a spiritual quotient, but we will limit ourselves to social quotient only. Now, social quotient can be understood or assessed by looking at individuals' social well-being. Now, today we are very much present on various formats of social platforms, maybe your WhatsApp, Facebook, or your Instagram, or Pinterest, or professional sites like LinkedIn, platforms like LinkedIn, or any such thing. Now, these are considered as the background verification for any individual today. So it is always advisable that you always balance or maintain a balance of your thoughts, expressions, and your tastes and preferences, going towards or looking at future, at least for 2 to 3 years time from now, till you are employed and be with any organization. Now, why I said like many companies are looking at social quotient as social well-being of an individual, because at times you can have disputes or conflict of thought with your friends or peer group members, and something extreme you might place as a content in any of the social platforms where you are addressing your peer group, that may adversely affect you. So try and avoid such things. So where you try and strike a balance, that means the other person who is observing you or trying to understand you through these social platforms will look at it as your social well-being, that you are stable and you can able to handle various situations in a manner which is required to be balanced and continue with the social being very much social and well in the society. Now, the next one being creative quotient, how much innovative you are, or how much you can think differently from others in approaching a situation, or in achieving a certain task or objective which is given to you. Now, that defines your creative quotient. As well, creative quotient also leads to an individual's enablement of being entrepreneurial in nature. Now, these entrepreneurial skills are very much sought by all the companies and individuals today, because they are the elements which enables an individual to be more responsible, more inclined towards take risk bearing and balancing the objectives of what is assigned to an individual. The last one being a digital quotient. Now, as we are familiar, like various technologies have enabled us today, and the familiarity with that is highly required as we move along in future. So, technical or technological know-how is essentially part of this digital quotient today. Now, what this slide enables us to understand is with the acquired skills, then how we need to understand the industry expectations. Then we have to look at the individual or self transformation, having understood the types of skills that are required for us to sustain in future, and finally to be industry ready. Now, till now, we have understood what are the individual skills that, what are the types of skills that are required to be future ready. Then, where is the interface or the bridging gap, that is, these portions which enables us to present ourselves to the companies. And next, we'll try and understand like what kind of companies we would be facing with, so as to so as to make ourselves ready for that. Now, the first thing is what we look at in the industry is there is a change in the rules of the business. Now, everything is going remote or technology based, and everything is objective specific only. The second one being continuous process of skill development. All the companies are the last one, which the last point which is given here. Large investments are on building humans as human as assets. Now, this continuous process of skill development, that is reskilling and upskilling, is one such example where companies are trying to build, rebuild, and enable individuals to such an extent that they can contribute to a greater extent towards the organization's growth. Now, that is the type of enormity in the skill development, knowledge development in an individuals the companies are looking at. And equally, the companies are investing in individuals also to make themselves ready for such change. The third one being working with machines and understanding the human interventions. Now, here, as I have already mentioned, the moment you are working with any organizations, you need to understand that how far the system is enabling you or the machine is enabling you, and where the limitation of the machine starts and where your intervention is required towards achieving the objective or the assignment, whatever is assigned to you by the companies. Now, the next slide would give you an understanding of the type of organizations that are shaping up. Now, here it is pertinent to, excuse me, here it is pertinent to understand that the lockdown period or the COVID, with the advent of the COVID era, the major change that has taken place is we have leaped 10 years ahead in terms of the technology. The technology change, which was expected for 2025 and 2030, was brought into implementation only in the year of 2020. So that is how the extent to which we have leaped. That is what the industry experts say today. So in terms of technology and application of technology, we have surged or moved ahead 10 years when we were as compared to what we were in 2019. So the type of organizations, what they are looking at is they are looking at exponential growth. Now, this is the only format by which organizations are looking at the changed formats of nature of their businesses. Now, what happens in exponential organizations are first is leveraging technology. So high amount of technology would be adapted or adopted and would be implemented equally in the organization's growth and continuity. The next one being less employees, because whoever would fit only in understanding the technology, work along with technology and enable themselves with the adopted technological skills or digital skills and can able to contribute to the organization will be part of or would be part of the organizations. And the last one being more tech savvy, the individuals who show inclination towards a change, towards acquiring major technology skills that are enabling them to contribute to the organization are such changes that are looked upon, and such people are only would be looked at in future. Now, I've used here three small examples of the kind of exponential organizations. The first one being WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp was taken over by Facebook, and the worth at which Facebook bought or purchased WhatsApp was 19 billion. Excuse me. 19 billion. The number of employees who are working with WhatsApp or at WhatsApp were only 55 people. Now, as I mentioned, they had deployed a lot of technology with less number of people, that is 55 only, and people were very much inclined towards a technology, or a skill that they had were predominantly technology based skills. So that's why each employee, when was like after the purchase, when each employee was assessed of their value or worth in the market, it was 345 million per head. So that's the kind of enablement today technology is giving in raising or in giving a worth to the employees with the acquisition of new skills, knowledge, and which are predominantly technology based. The second one is second example is YouTube, which was taken over by Google, and it was 1.65 billion when it was sold, and the number of employees were only 65. So each employee was worth 25 million. Similarly, the third company being Instagram, and it was sold to Facebook. It was 1 billion the worth of the company when it was sold, and only 13 employees were working with Instagram. That's an astonishing number of employees. Each employee with the given skill sets in terms of the three elements which are mentioned above, they were worth 77 million. So that's the kind of change which organizations are looking at with the implementation of technology today, or already technology is there, and as we move along and as the changing phase of technology is taking place again and again, day in and day out, so we have to keep ourselves abreast with the skills that are required to be industry ready. Now here I will try to summarize or broadly categorize the major skills that are required. The first one being creative and having innovative thinking in individuals. This is, as I have mentioned, it is entrepreneurial ability in the individuals. The next one being emotional intelligence. Individuals would be working through the systems or through virtual mode, and they need to have a lot of empathy and persuasion in them, because every individual who is there on the other side will have different mindset, taste and preferences, and thinking ability. So to bring each and everyone to one certain commonality, it requires a lot of empathy and persuasion in individuals. The third one being collaborative, having a collaborative skill. As I said, a lot of collaboration is required between human skills and digital skills, and this is going to be the central skill for any individual to develop, dwell upon, and build themselves to be future ready. The next one being, an individual needs to be a problem solver, or should always look at out of box thinking, with an out of box thinking in solving any of the problems. The last one being cognitive flexibility. It is highly required in an individual, like whatever comes up, he or she should be in a position to understand that, okay, this is what I need now, and I need to prepare myself towards facing it and overcoming any kind of new areas or situations that they face with. So broadly summarizing, so these are the major skills that are required, and looking at other sub aspects are being individuals need to be digitally skilled, being cognitive. They should be very much social in nature, which also looks at or which also caters to the requirements of being emotional intelligent. Then they should be adaptive. As I've said, cognitive flexibility should be there. Then they should be very much agile and resilient, which helps them in going forward, looking at the future change and the future formats of organizations. So this is all about your post-COVID skills that are required. Now, in short, what we have tried understanding here is the skills that we require, the transformation that we need to understand, so as to bridge between ourselves and the companies or industry's expectations, and the type of organizations that are going to be faced by us in future, and how we can build upon our existing skills and take forward ourselves to the next level. So this concludes the topic post-COVID skills. From my side, it's a big thanks to all of you for being part of this. Thank you so much. Over to you, sir. Sir, I have concluded
Hello.
my session, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. Yeah, I have concluded my session, sir.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Sir, on behalf of SN College, we convey our heartiest thanks to sir for this wonderful session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. It's been
Okay.
a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.